Chapter 6. Bum. He looks dirt poor. He stinks. Months of winter days spent in corners next to storefronts, where humans, kind and understanding, can be found. He is grateful for the small scraps of food they give to him. Derek hasn't always been a beggar. If only people would realize that. What is he doing out here? Doesn't he want a home? People wonder as they pass by, disgusted by the sight of his filthy beanie and uncaring that he can hear them and see their looks of disapproval. Does Derek miss his days on the high school football team, lovely girlfriends, summers spent with friends in his brand new pickup truck? He always invited them to the estate during summer and winter breaks for them to get away from the clamor of school. He had once had it all. The fancy house to match the fancy car, to suit the fancy wife, nowhere to be seen now. He had never had a real and true friend in his fancy world of lights, glitter, and glamour. The world he had been given and the world he had created for himself. Stark in contrast. He wants this new life that he has created. The kindness he has felt given to him on the streets of strangers had been the most rewarding thing he had ever attained for himself, and it was free. These people had never asked him for anything. These kind passers-by had never tricked him into being their friend. No strings attached. It's interesting that this string seems to continually get stuck under his pant leg as he now shuffles down this same street. He adopted the shuffle for large cities he has traveled to. When moving to one place from another, he finds people less annoyed if he applies this strange limp to his appearance. This isn't his first time in such a small town. He needed to stay in the area as he had come to the realization that his body had weakened over the course of time with his way of life. He knew his health had suffered greatly in choosing this way of life, but it was worth it to him. This life lesson had shown him many beautiful things. One day, a guy had handed him an old iPod and earbuds taken out of his ears. Derek had learned to simply nod his thanks, ashamed of the decay of his teeth and the smell of them. Still warm from the guy, he puts the earbuds in and hears "Can You Feel It" by the Jacksons, flowing pressure to the drums of his ears. He watches footsteps pass to the sound of cheerful claps. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? There's no charger for the device. Yet. It is the street he finds the most kindness. On the days when this type of life gets hard and he thinks of giving it all up for loss, he comes here. Here is where humanity rests, and it allows him to rest as well. Never inside, mind you, but there is a blanket and boxes that have been kept in the alley for him on purpose. Each week, he could watch the workers pile in other items for the dumpster, but never that dark gray blanket and cardboard. The level of wealth has not distorted the hearts or minds of the people here on Lincoln Boulevard. These people have never asked him for anything. They have only ever given. He is torn between his need for food and kindness and his involuntary dependence on them. He does not want to become an uncomfortable burden to these friendly faces. He knows some of them by name now. They have assigned him his dignity as a fellow human being. Smile that God made tears as signposts for your pain, someone once told him on a cold, rainy, and particularly hard day. The smell of human rot and flesh slowly scabbing over after the pus has run dry on cold nights leaves a trail of untold stories. Stories of a time he hates to call to mind on icy days, when everything seems to push him past the point of pain and panic. They only gave, out of the kindness of their hearts. It amazed him now, as he sits in his own filth and stink, how kind and gentle some people can actually be. The manager of the coffee shop had not been so kind, however. Not kind enough to let Derek use the bathroom this afternoon. Hence, the now putrid smell of this most recent loose stool had sadly and blatantly mixed with prior times of unkindness. possibly even the very first stomach upset incident. The first time it had ever happened, he had argued with a member of the hotel staff on Richardson Street. He did tell the man that it would be better for them and their establishment if they would let him use the toilet inside rather than the outside. But excuse me? Says the worker, visibly confused. There are no outside facilities for public use. On their lawn, near the crystal fountain, there soon would be, Derek had announced, as a matter of fact. That is, if the unkindness continues. The threat was ill-received and police action would be taken if he refused to leave immediately. Yes, the pus dried over raw skin. Stink changed. How many years has it been? This strange path of lifestyles. It's important to bury the clothes in a new location after each trip back home. Derek is unsure whether the smell of the burlap sack draws the stray dogs or the smell of feces. Must seem strange, Derek laughed to himself, to see him walk down this desolate stretch of highway. The road is always longer when you don't know where you're going and will never travel it again. How much more he appreciates the stray dog that kept him company, as she sometimes did when she found him while roaming the streets in search of food. It is good to be accompanied by a familiar face, even if it's the face of a canine. The next town was 109 miles from here. Where was he going? A dog wondered. Back at the Royce estate, things are business as usual. Catherine, Cat, will never understand, as she turns down the satin sheet set reserved for Tuesdays, why a beautiful, tall, well-built heir to the Royce fortune would subject himself to the horrors of human degradation the way Derek has all these years. I enjoy seeing faces. I want to look into the face of a person at their core. I see the small defining moments of these people's lives. I want to see humanity in all its raw forms. That is all the explanation he has to offer, one that falls on deaf ears.